Story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all your reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning to you and welcome to Story Time. Thank you for joining us. Yes, Friday is here. Happy Friday to each and every one of you that is joining us today. I am so glad that we're here together for another story. We've had amazing stories this week and another one is in store today. And we are running away with the quickest kid in Clarksville. And this one is by Pat ZIETLOW Miller and Frank Morrison. And of course, reading it with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Welcome to Story Time. The quickest kid in Clarksville is coming right up. Thank you so much for joining in today. And of course, if you missed my interview with Pat ZIETLOW Miller, please do join us for that conversation and get to listen as she talks about her many books, including this one right here. Thank you so much, the inspiration and all the work behind it. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. So glad you're here with me. Happy Friday. I hope you enjoy it. And as you can see from my shirt, this was from the 10th anniversary of Ride for a Reason, an annual event, a bike ride from Oakland here all the way out to Sacramento, the state capital, that helps raise funds for public education. So it will be happening again in April. Please do look out for that information coming your way. Sign up if you're close by or indeed you want to participate. Sign up and come and help raise money for public education. As you know, public education is in need. So many cuts, so many things happening, and all those budget cuts that are happening, and we need the money right now. So thank you so much for joining in Story Time. I'm glad you're here with us today. And of course, Ride for a Reason. If you've not signed up, go sign up now. If not, please do help somebody, support somebody that is taking part in Ride for a Reason. I will be riding, of course, so I'm excited to be there. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Welcome. The quickest kid in Clarksville is coming right up. Let us see who is with us this morning. Thank you for joining us. Please, as always, let me know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you. A very, very good morning to you and your loved ones. Thank you for being here on Story Time. Let us see this morning who is here. Oh my goodness. First through the door, Abraham, how are you doing today? And you saying happy Friday to everybody that is joining in today. Thank you so much, Abraham. Thank you. Appreciate those good vibes. And of course, Terry Kasweka, we do not forget you. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Welcome to Story Time from right here in the Bay Area. Thank you for being here today. Absolutely appreciate you. Kate, how are you doing today? And you're saying good morning and happy Friday from Garrick and Theo. Yes, good morning to you. And you're out in snowy Pittsburgh. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Glad you're here for this one. It's so good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining in. Welcome to Story Time. Theo and Garrick, thank you for being here. And of course, Kate, Good morning to you as well. Thank you for being here on Story Time. I hope you have your running shoes ready to go. Good morning from a very snowy Vermont. I've been following the news and looking at all the storm that has just covered the country. I hope everybody is okay. And indeed, if you're the ones of those that have lost power, I hope that it comes back soon. Thank you so much, so much for joining in Story Time. Bolden, home today and we're snowed in. Well, I hope you're okay, still staying warm. Thank you so much for being here, Bolden. Together, let's make something of this day, right? Thank you so much for being here. Are you ready to run, Bolden? The quickest kid in Clarksville. Thank you so much for joining in today. Or are you the quickest kid in Vermont? Thank you so much for joining us. Oh, yes, you're saying you're cozy with a snack of mango, ready for story time. Oh, my goodness. You're taking me back to Zambia, taking me back to my childhood. Mango is a favorite for sure. Thank you so much for joining in. Good morning to you one more time. Borden and Chrissy out in Vermont. Yes, a very snowy Vermont today. Amanda West, how are you doing today? And of course, Sarah and Nathan in bright and cold Illinois. Thank you so much for joining in today. Bright and cold Illinois. Oh my goodness, please do stay warm. Thank you for joining us on Story Time. I am glad we're here together, ready for another story. So good to see you all. Thank you so much for being here. Susan, how are you doing today? Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. I hope everything is okay with you. Thank you for being here. Absolutely appreciate the support. Thank you for joining us. I hope you're ready, Susan, for a wonderful story indeed. The Quickest Kid in Clarksville, and this one is written by Pat ZIETLOW Miller and illustrations by Frank Morrison, and of course reading it with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Good morning to you. Thank you so much, Susan. How are you doing today? Amanda Wortman, how are you? And thank you so much for joining us, and of course joining in with baby Bia. Oh my goodness, out in cold and dark Seattle. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, indeed, dark and chilly Seattle. Thank you so much for joining us today and sending hugs to all our Storytime friends. Will they hear you loud and clear? Thank you for those hugs. Yes. Just don't ask me to stand up. That's it. It ends right here. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope people were dancing along to the jig on Friday. Yes, indeed, it is Friday. Happy Friday to you. Thank you, Amanda. And of course, baby Bia. Marlin, sending you love as well. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. I love it. Thank you. I'm yet to get my coffee, Susan, but please enjoy yours. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Absolutely love it. Yes, indeed. You give me the energy right now. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Absolutely appreciate you. Good morning to you, Quinn in San Diego. Yes. Welcome back, Quinn. Good to see you here. And of course, Abby Snyder. Thank you so much for joining us on Story Time. So glad we're here together for this wonderful story indeed, by an amazing author and an amazing illustrator as well. Frank Morrison, Pat ZIETLOW Miller, thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Thank you for this wonderful book indeed. And all the way in Natchitoches, Louisiana, thank you so much for joining in. Auntie Pam, you're okay. We're here. I'm still talking my way, so please get settled, get comfortable, and we're about to get started with the story. You're on time. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh yes, Auntie Anne, thank you so much for joining in. So glad your sister's sharing with you. Well, I am glad Auntie Anne is there with you, and hopefully Braylon and Chad make it very soon. Thank you so much for joining in. Maybe by the time we're done with the back matter, they will be here. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely love it. Yes, indeed. Snow day. Thank you so much for joining in. Marietta, Henry, does this mean you're home too today? Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, Henry, thank you. Good to see you on our live. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I am so glad we're here together. Happy Friday. And remember, yesterday we read Melana's Jubilee, and we were told this is a clean slate, a new day, a fresh start. Well, let's make it that. Let's have this fresh start. Let us forget about yesterday and build on today. Yes, indeed. All right. So Here we go today, though. The quickest kid in Clarksville is about to get started. Join me on the other side of this message. I will be right back.
Hi, my name is Zetta Elliott, and I am the author of 40 books for kids, including Dragons in a Bag and A Place Inside of Me. You're watching Storytime with Mr. Limata.
Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, a big thank you to you, Zetta Elliott, with amazing books. Yes, including the latest one just out. Please do find her at zetaelliott.com and check out all the wonderful books that she has. And indeed, many, many great books out there. Oh, yes. Including one of my favorites, Say Her Name. All right, so this one is called The Quickest Kid in Clarksville. And it is a story that is based off of the original story of Wilma Rudolph. So if you're familiar with that story, and we will read the back matter, of course, to help us a little bit, but just an amazing story, a wonderful work of creative fiction right here. So Pat ZIETLOW Miller and, of course, Frank Morrison with the illustrations, and reading it with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. But before we get started, let's jump all the way to the back and look at that back matter, the history, the inspiration behind this book. And as I was looking at the dedications in this book, I just thought too, it's like, the dedications, it could be to somebody in your own life. But for example, for Pat ZIETLOW Miller, she says, to Mark, who believed it was possible from the very start. And I think we all need somebody like that in our lives. We need people like that in our lives. Surround ourselves with people that believe it's possible, that believe we can do anything. Thank you. And of course, the next one was from Frank Morrison, and he says, to my daughter Tiffany, the fastest 4-year-old that I know, run after your dreams. They are worth the race. Yes, I think a message that is definitely apt for everybody out there. Run after your dreams. They are worth the race. Yes, indeed. And I think that is a wonderful message to get us started. All right, so we go into the author's note. What is happening? Where did this story come from? All right, author's note. In 1960, African-American sprinter Wilma Rudolph was the fastest woman in the world. At the Summer Olympic Games in Rome, Italy, she became the first woman from the United States to win 3 gold medals at the same Olympics. How about that? Her wins in the 100 meters, 200 meters, and 4x100 relay with Martha Hudson, Lucinda Williams, and Barbara Jones made her a household name. She met President John F. Kennedy and received awards, including the Associated Press Female Athlete of the Year in 1960 and 1961. The James E. Sullivan Award, which honors character, leadership, and sportsmanship. Induction into the U.S. National Track and Field Hall of Fame and the U.S. Olympic Hall of Fame. Wilma's success was even more impressive because of the difficulties she overcame growing up. She was one of 22 children, and her family did not have much money. Wilma was often ill as a child and wore a leg brace after she was diagnosed with polio. Doctors didn't think she would ever walk without it, but she exercised and worked for years until her leg was strong. Wilma grew up in Clarksville, Tennessee, a segregated town. There were separate schools and doctors and restaurants for Black people and white people. After Wilma's victories, Clarksville wanted to honor her with a parade and banquet. Wilma said she would not attend unless the events were integrated, open to everyone. The organizers agreed, and Wilma's celebrations were the first major events for Blacks and whites in Clarksville's history. So just a little bit to learn about this amazing athlete, amazing activist. And now we go on into our story for today. The quickest kid in Clarksville. Get comfortable, get ready. Kavai, Braylon, and Chad, I hope that you're here now. All right, this one coming to you from Pat ZIETLOW Miller and Frank Morrison, and of course read with permission of Chronicle Books of San Francisco. I'm running in place, listening to my feet pound the pavement, pretending I am the fastest woman in the world. Of course, Wilma Rudolph grew up right in this town, is the fastest than anyone. Oh, but I am the quickest kid in Clarksville, Tennessee, and everyone around here knows it. I love the confidence. I am thinking about tomorrow's parade and wondering what Wilma's 3 Olympic gold medals would feel like hanging around my neck. When a girl I have never seen before comes sashaying my way like she owns the sidewalk and everything on it. Oh, who is that? Who is that? Who is coming in? She sticks a hand at her hip. I am Charmaine. I look her up and down. I am Alta. That's Dee Dee and little more. Got me some new shoes, Charmaine says. Ooh. Well, hello, Charmaine. Boy, howdy. How does she ever? Brand new. Only been worn by her shoes with stripes down the sides and laces so white they glow. Whoa, shoes to strut in, shoes to run in. Because Charmaine's strutting hard enough to shame a rooster, and her legs are just raring to go. These shoes are like Wilma's, she says. My daddy went uptown to get them. I stare at the concrete. I don't have a shoe buying daddy. My sneakers have holes in the soles and laces that never thought to glimmer. Oh. I bite my lip. It's okay. Wilma wore a leg brace and 4 sack dresses before she got big. Shoes don't make you fast, I say. Charmaine's face tightens. What do you mean? Reckon I am faster than anyone. I puff up like a spitting cat. She wishes she were Wilma, but I am the real deal. I point to the mailbox. There and back. Oh. We crouch low. Dee Dee and little more count down, and we're off. My sneakers slap a sidewalk beat. Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph, and I run. I reach the box first, turn and sprint back, arms moving, legs grooving. I hear Charmaine huffing and puffing behind me. I do a victory dance with while Charmaine glares. I am still bebopping when she takes off again. To the corner! Charmaine calls over her shoulder. Starting now! Oh my! Hurry, hurry, catch up! I leap after her like a scalded frog. Wilma's come from behind to win some of her races, and so will I. Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph, as I tap and run on the ground. When Charmaine reaches the corner, I am nipping her ankles. Bodies lunge, feet tango. Oh no, I fall. Charmaine stays up and wins. Ouch! My toe hurts, probably because it's poking out a brand new hole. Oh. That did not seem fair, Charmaine. You started first. Just like that, I puff up again. You tripped me. I would have won if you didn't. You were in my lane. I won fair and square. Charmaine walks away, shaking her braids and swinging her bottom. I follow, mad as any cat. That's when it happens. My toe hits a rock. The rock hits Charmaine. Oh no. For a minute, Charmaine looks like she might fight, but she leaves without a word. Oh. I limp home, feet dragging, head hanging. I show Mama the hole. She sighs, oh, baby girl, those shoes have to last. They have to. Oh. When parade day dawns, I am making a banner with Dee Dee and little more. Then Charmaine struts by like she's queen of the block. I scowl at her. Then I pick up the banner and nod to Dee Dee and little more. Oh, love the drama. Let's go. This thing is, the banner is bulky. No way I will make it all the way to the parade. It might be easier if I run. I force my feet to move. But one block in, I can't go on. I hear the beat of feet. Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph, Wilma Rudolph. Who's that? Charmaine is running by me. Pass that here, she says. I clutch the banner tighter. I don't need your help. Come on, says Charmaine. We will do it like real Wilma's relay. 3 people ran it with her. You know, so true. I clutch the banner tighter. I don't need your help. I don't need her help. Come on, says Charmaine. We will do it like Wilma's relay. 3 people ran it with her, you know. Smart. I love it. I hate to admit it, but she's right. I hand her the banner and she takes off for the next block. Then Dee Dee takes a turn and even little more. We ran faster and faster till our legs are nothing but a whirling blur, just like you know whose. People stare, eyes popping, fingers pointing. You go, girl, someone calls. Oh. I sneak a look at Charmaine. Her feet are flying. Who's faster? I can't tell, but Charmaine isn't strutting or scowling. She looks happy. I don't mean to, but I smile. Charmaine smiles back. And all at once, I know shoes don't matter, not as long as we've got our feet. Aww. Look, I say, the perfect spot. We collapse on the curb. There are flags, bands, noise, black faces, and white ones. Everybody. And finally, a fancy convertible with the top down comes along. Right there, holding a bunch of roses, is Wilma Rudolph. We scream and raise our banner, hearts pounding, heads hopping. Wilma sees us and smiles. Then she waves. That makes Charmaine and me sashay like we own the sidewalk and everything on it. And maybe, just maybe, we do. Because we are the quickest kids in Clarksville, Tennessee. Oh, I love it. Oh my goodness. And everyone around here knows it. They better. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. I hope you enjoyed that wonderful, wonderful story. Indeed, teamwork, determination, hope, everything, and of course, the importance of having those role models out there as well. As you can see, Wilma Rudolph inspiring those little ones there, and that's what it does. When people can see people who are like them in their communities doing things, that helps our little ones. So please, please let us normalize, let us make sure that we expose our children to as many diverse communities as possible, because our world is diverse and that's what makes it beautiful. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Absolutely appreciate the time we spent together. I hope you're not too tired from running along with the quickest kids in Clarksville. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much for joining in. Pat ZIETLOW Miller and Frank Morrison. And of course, a big thank you to Chronicle Books of San Francisco for this wonderful, wonderful book. Thank you so much for joining in. This has been Storytime for this week. Amazing stories, amazing illustrators, creators, authors. Thank you for joining us on Storytime, and indeed for allowing us to share such amazing books here with everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and of course keeping you in our thoughts. Everybody that is in the line of the storm, please, I hope that you are okay. I hope that everything goes well, power is restored, and everything else is cleared up very, very soon. Thank you so much for joining in. And of course, too, a big thank you to all those essential workers out there who are doing that amazing work that we make sure that we do not take that for granted. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Glad you're here. I hope you enjoyed that story. It took me back to my own childhood. One of my favorite things, and people I grew up with will tell you this, was running around our building. We had those I grew up in an apartment building for the first part of my life until I was in the 7th grade. But that first part was this apartment building. It had 8 apartments on it. Lots of kids from each apartment and around the neighborhood, and we would race around the building. And every time we'd do relays, we would do just individual races and all kinds of things. And I went on to run at school, and I think everything was built and started at that apartment building. So appreciate it. This book definitely took me back to those days out at Agio Court. Yes, indeed, Agio Court out in Lusaka, Zambia. Love it, love it, love it. Number 8, Lua Road. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. And a big shout out to all my friends, all my neighbors that I grew up with then, Farai, Chippo, my cousin Vincent, everybody out in that neighborhood. Sweet, sweet people indeed, and lovely memories from here. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that book brought you memories of your own. Yes, indeed, that's what it is. These books allow us to travel to places that we've never been, places that maybe we may think we will never be, and this book just does that. Today we're in Clarksville, but also hopefully it takes you to even greater places. Travel with these books, enjoy, read, please share. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely love it. Let us see one more time who was with us here on Storytime and got to enjoy that wonderful, wonderful story. Thank you so much, Pamela Courtney, and you're saying, oh my goodness, the rhythmic styling and all that beautiful internal rhyme kept me leaning in to listen. Loved it. It is a wonderful book indeed. One for your shelf. And of course, do find it at your local libraries if it is there. Thank you so much. I hope that Braylon and Chad can enjoy it as well later on. Thank you so much for joining in, Pamela Courtney. Auntie Anne, we do not forget you. Yes, indeed. Thank you for joining us. Absolutely appreciate you as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Beautiful, beautiful story, you say, Ingrid. Well, thank you so much, Miss Ingrid. And you say drawing. Wow, the artwork. Yes, indeed. Well, you are very welcome. Please do send me recommendations if you do have them, and we would love to bring those stories to Storytime. Thank you so much for joining in. Such motion in those illustrations. Marietta, spoken like a true illustrator, a true artist. Thank you, thank you. I love it. Yes, indeed. Lots of motion in there. Thank you so much for joining in, everybody that was here. Abby, Snyder, and Quinn, thank you for joining us out in San Diego. Appreciate you. Thank you so so much. And of course, Henry, we're glad that you were here with us today. Yes, indeed. I know you got snowed in, but please enjoy it. I hope that you have a wonderful day at home, a wonderful day indeed. And hopefully story time was a good one for you as well. Thank you so much for joining in. Yes, yes, yes. Good morning to you. One more time, let us see who was with us. Abraham, thank you so much for joining in. And of course, Terry, thank you for joining us. I am glad you are here. Kate, thank you for joining us. Theo and Garrick out in Pittsburgh, thank you for being here. Bolden, good to see you. I hope that mango went down well with the quickest kid in Clarksville. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are not racing to finish your food. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Chrissy Mitchell Adams, thank you as well for joining us on Storytime today. Amanda West, thank you for joining us. Sarah and Nathan, how are you doing today? I hope that you are well. Please do stay warm out there in cold Illinois. Susan, Adrian, thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I hope your coffee went down well. I hope you're enjoying it even more with the story. Thank you for joining us today. Absolutely appreciate you. And of course, Amanda Wortman, how are you doing? Thank you so much for joining in out in chilly Seattle. Hopefully it is a little brighter right now. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you. Baby Bia, hugs, hugs, hugs to you. And of course, Marlene as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Glad we're here together. To everybody that was joining in, and of course, to everybody that joins us after the recording, that joins us for the recording, I hope that you enjoy it. I hope you have a wonderful time with the book. Please do leave us messages. Let us know you were here. Please find Storytime on our archives, on YouTube, and of course on Facebook as well, for every book that we're allowed to still have up there. Thank you so much for joining in. Absolutely appreciate this wonderful, wonderful times. Going back to Melena's Jubilee, it is a new slate, new start, new day. I hope that it is just that for you. You have that new canvas. Sing the song that is in your heart. And of course, find those supports around you. Friends that were sometimes our foes that drive us on. Yes, like we saw with Charmaine in this one. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. It is always a pleasure being here. It brings joy to my heart. Thank you for making this wonderful community possible. I absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. And like I was saying at the beginning too, we have this race that happens right for a reason. It helps raise funds for public education here in Oakland. Certain schools get funding from this. So please do support. Please do take part if you're close by, if you can. Or indeed, as we post out supports or pledges for supports, please take a minute if you can to help support that. It's coming up. I will be doing that race, and I will be indeed updating you as we go on. Thank you for being here. Much love from me. Happy Friday. I will miss you over the weekend, but if you do miss Storytime, please go back to our archives. Find us on YouTube as well as Facebook, and you can also follow up what we're doing on Instagram. Thank you so much for joining in. Many more great stories coming your way next week. They're already queued and ready. Yes, indeed, ready to go for Monday. Thank you so much for joining in. Have a lovely day. You and your loved ones. This has been Storytime for this week. Much love. Bye-bye. Oh.
Storytime with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Oh. Storytime with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. Story time. Story time with Mr. Limata. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Limata, where all your dreams come true. Oh. brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be